The night the billionaire's voice exploded in the backseat of her car, Maya Collins realized she had a choice to make: stay invisible or risk everything by speaking the truth he never expected to hear. Outside, Seattle's storm pounded against the windows as traffic trapped them on a bridge, minutes before a billion-dollar deal was set to collapse. Inside, a desperate CEO barked orders, unaware that the quiet woman gripping the wheel held the one skill that could save his entire empire. What happened next would shatter every assumption he had ever made. "If you stay with me, you'll see the moment it all changed." The night the driver finally spoke up, the billionaire in her back seat had no idea his entire life was about to flip. Rain hammered the streets of downtown Seattle, blurring the neon and glass of the Harborview Financial District into streaks of white and red. Inside a black sedan idling at a stoplight, Maya Collins tightened her grip on the steering wheel and glanced at the mirror. In the back seat, Gavin Rhodes, CEO of Northbridge Global Technologies, glowed in the pale light of his laptop. His jaw was clenched, his tie loosened just enough to look expensive and careless at the same time. On the screen, a frazzled man in another time zone stammered excuses. "What do you mean there are no interpreters?" Gavin thundered. "It's Tokyo and Mumbai, not the moon. We have $1 billion on the line, Richard." $1 billion. Find someone. Maya quietly reached forward and turned the radio down one notch so he could hear better. From the glass reflection, his eyes snapped up. "What did you just touch?" "The radio, sir," she said softly. "So you can—" "Did I ask you to?" His voice cut through the car like a knife. "You're the driver, not my assistant. Keep your hands off my controls and your ears out of my conversations." Maya swallowed whatever answer wanted to rise. 3 years of this. 3 years of being invisible with a name badge. "Yes, Mr. Rhodes," she murmured. The light turned green. The sedan slid forward, swallowed by a slow-moving river of luxury cars and ride shares. Outside, the wet glow of Harborview's towers mocked the truth she already knew. The mighty Northbridge Global, the company whose logo gleamed on the building she drove to every day, was hanging by a thread. She knew because people forgot the driver could hear. Because crises and secrets tended to spill when people thought you were furniture on wheels. Behind her, Gavin snapped the divider control. "Raise it," he muttered. "I don't even want to see you in the mirror." The tinted glass slid up with a smooth hum, closing her off. On the other side, his voice turned harsher. "Listen to me, Richard. If we lose this negotiation with Takara Meta Holdings, Northbridge goes under. I don't care what time it is over there. I don't care how much we have to pay. I need someone who speaks Japanese and Hindi in 90 minutes. Not tomorrow. Now." The car eased onto Bayfront Bridge, red taillights stretching ahead like a chain of warning lights. And then everything stopped. A wall of brake lights locked in place. Traffic froze. "You have got to be kidding me," Maya thought. From behind the glass, something slammed. Probably his fist. Probably the laptop. "You've got to be kidding me," Gavin echoed, as if reading her mind but never really seeing her. "We're not moving?" "No, sir," she said. "Looks like an accident ahead." He cursed under his breath and ended the call with a furious tap. For the first time since she'd picked him up, the car went quiet. No angry voice booming through the speakers. No fake polite laugh for investors. No clipped orders. Maya stared at the motionless line of cars ahead and felt something inside her shift. Not a sudden heroic moment. More like a slow, exhausted decision. Either I stay invisible forever, or I open my mouth once and accept whatever happens. Her heart started to pound. She lowered the divider halfway. "Mr. Rhodes," she said, keeping her voice steady. He turned his head sharply. Up close, without the reflection, he looked older than the glossy magazine covers made him. Tired, but his expression was still pure ice. "Which part of 'I don't want to see you' was unclear?" he asked. "I apologize," she said. "I just need to know something." "Oh, this should be good," he snapped. "What could you possibly need to know right now?" "What languages do you need for the call?" Maya asked. He stared at her like she'd just spoken in code. "Why on earth does that matter to you?" "Japanese and Hindi, right?" she repeated calmly. The air in the car changed, his eyes narrowed. "How do you know that?" he demanded. "You mentioned Tokyo and Mumbai every time you yelled at Richard," she said simply. "You forget the driver can hear." His jaw flexed, but before he could tear into her, she continued. "I asked because I can help." He actually laughed, a short, ugly sound. "Help? You?" "Yes," she said. There was no pride in her voice, just fact. "I speak Japanese." He stared. "And Hindi," she went on, "and Mandarin, Arabic, French, Portuguese, German, and Spanish." The laugh died instantly. "What did you just say?" he whispered. "I can interpret the call for you," Maya said, "if you'd like." As if on cue, his phone lit up and vibrated on the seat beside him. The name on the screen made the color drain from his face. Kenji Sato, the man who held his company's fate in his hands. For a second, all the arrogance slipped. All that was left was fear. Maya reached back, her hand hovering, not demanding. "If you let me answer," she said softly, "I might be able to fix this before it breaks completely." He hesitated. Pride screamed one thing. Survival screamed another. He handed her the phone. "Don't screw this up," he muttered. She ignored the insult. "Watch," she said quietly, "and listen." Maya put the phone to her ear and slipped into flawless Japanese, her voice suddenly warmer, rounder, shaped by a culture Gavin had only seen in boardroom slides. She bowed with words, apologized for the previous tone, acknowledged Sato's legacy, and spoke of partnership instead of dominance. Kenji's voice on the other end was tight at first, offended. As Maya responded, echoing his concerns with humility and certainty, his tone softened. When Asha Mehta joined the call from India, Maya pivoted to Hindi without missing a beat, stitching apologies and reassurances together in a tapestry of respect. In the back seat, Gavin watched her like he was seeing a ghost. "What's he saying?" he whispered. Maya covered the microphone for a moment. "He felt insulted by the aggressive wording in your earlier contracts," she said. "He believes you see his company as beneath yours." "And what are you telling him?" Gavin asked, voice low. "That you respect his family's history," Maya replied. "That you're personally committed to learning more about Japanese culture. That you see this as a long-term partnership." He blinked. "That's not exactly true." "Now it is," she thought. Out loud, she only said, "It can be." She went back to interpreting, switching between Japanese, Hindi, and English with the ease of someone who had lived 3 lives in 3 cities. Slowly, the thread of the conversation shifted. The meeting was not canceled. It was confirmed. They would come to Seattle. They would sit down in person. They would keep talking. When she finally ended the call, the silence in the car rang louder than his shouting ever had. Maya handed the phone back. "They'll be at Northbridge in an hour," she said. "They still want to negotiate." Gavin stared at her like he was trying to process that the person who had just saved his billion-dollar deal was the same woman who opened his door every morning. "Who are you?" "Oh," he asked quietly. Maya looked at him through the mirror. For once, she didn't lower her eyes. "My name is Maya Collins," she said. "I used to be a diplomatic interpreter. Washington, New York, Los Angeles. Then my mom got sick. I quit everything to take care of her. And when I tried to go back, no one wanted the woman who stepped away for family. So I took the first job I could get." "Driving me," he said. "Driving you," she confirmed. "And for 3 years," he murmured, almost to himself, "you just sat there and listened?" "No," she said. "I sat here and watched you drown. Tonight I decided to throw you a rope." Traffic finally began to move again. Bayfront Bridge crept forward, inch by inch, carrying them toward the glass tower with the Northbridge logo glowing against the stormy sky. By the time they pulled up under the front awning, Gavin looked like someone who'd been spun in a storm and dropped on the curb. When she stepped around to open his door, he didn't get out right away. He just stared at her. "I need you upstairs," he said finally. The arrogance was still there, but it had cracks now. "If you really speak 9 languages, you're coming into that boardroom with me." Maya held his gaze. This was the part where she could back down, apologize, pretend none of this had happened. Instead, she nodded. "Then let's go save your company, Mr. Rhodes." They walked into the marble lobby side by side. Heads turned. Security guards who had never looked at her twice suddenly stared. The receptionist frowned, unsure if she was seeing things. In the executive hallway, the leadership team of Northbridge gathered, all designer suits and nervous eyes. They froze when they saw Maya standing next to Gavin like she belonged there. "Rhodes," said Natalie Brooks, the VP of Operations. "Takara Mehta is already in the conference room. We still don't have interpreters, and they are not happy." "We don't need external interpreters," Gavin said. "Maya will handle it." "Your driver?" scoffed Jenna Morales from marketing. "With all due respect, this is a billion-dollar deal, not a side gig." "I speak the languages your guests speak," Maya said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "All of them." Claire Nguyen, the CFO, looked her up and down with cool curiosity. "Which languages exactly?" "Japanese, Hindi, Mandarin, Arabic, French, Portuguese, German, Spanish," Maya replied. She didn't add that English was the least interesting thing in her brain. The three executives exchanged glances that said impossible without needing words. "She salvaged the call," Gavin said sharply. "Without her, they'd already be on a plane home." Jenna still looked annoyed. "Even if that's true, she can't walk in there in a driver's uniform. It looks unprofessional." Maya met her eyes and for the first time allowed a spark of steel to show. "On that, she said, I agree with you." She turned to Gavin. "If you want them to take me seriously, I need to look like I belong in that room." Gavin didn't hesitate. "Natalie, take her to the executive boutique. Navy suit, white shirt, nothing flashy. You have 15 minutes. "Are you absolutely sure?" Natalie asked. He didn't look away from Maya. "I'm sure." As Natalie led her down the corridor, voices rose behind them. "This is going to be a disaster," Jenna hissed under her breath. "Or a miracle," Claire replied quietly. 10 minutes later, Maya stood in front of a mirror she would never have been allowed near a day before, smoothing the lapel of a suit that somehow fit like it had been waiting for her. Her chauffeur's jacket hung on a hook nearby, damp from the rain. She stared at it for a second, then at her own reflection. "For 3 years you carried him," she thought. "Tonight you carry yourself." When she stepped back onto the executive floor, the hallway went quiet. Even the interns staring from the corner cubicles seemed to hold their breath. Gavin looked up and actually forgot to act like he wasn't impressed. "Perfect," he said under his breath. Maya walked toward him, shoulders back, heartbeat hammering but step steady. At the end of the hall, the doors to the main conference room loomed, polished wood and frosted glass hiding the people who could make or break 1,000 livelihoods. Gavin exhaled. "Ready?" he asked. "No," she said honestly, "but I'm going in anyway." Together they reached for the door. If you were in Maya's place, sitting in that driver's seat with everything to lose, would you have dared to speak up the way she did? Yes or no? Maya stepped into the conference room with the quiet confidence of someone who'd spent years being underestimated and finally decided she had nothing left to lose. The room was large, cold, and overwhelmingly white, with a long glass table that reflected the faces of 3 of the most intimidating people in international business. Kenji Sato sat with the posture of a man born into legacy. Asha Mehta's sharp gaze swept the room like a searchlight, and Victor Liang typed rapidly on a sleek tablet without looking up. For a split second, Maya felt the weight of every wrong turn her life had taken. She remembered nights translating in embassies across the world, where entire negotiations hinged on her voice. She remembered the quiet beep of hospital machines, her mother telling her that her gift was meant to help people, even if the world didn't always recognize it. She remembered the first night she put on the chauffeur's uniform and promised herself it would be temporary. Now she was here, standing in the crossfire of global power. Gavin attempted a shallow bow and Maya followed with a deeper, more precise one. It was subtle, but she saw Kenji register it. Respect spoke fluently even when words failed. Maya began the introductions in Japanese, her tone gentle and formal. Kenji's expression softened, the faintest nod signaling approval. Then she transitioned seamlessly to Hindi for Asha, honoring her place at the table with cultural fluency that no textbook could teach. Only once the room settled, Maya switched to English. "Thank you for joining us today. Northbridge is honored you have chosen to continue the discussion." Kenji folded his hands. "We appreciate sincerity. It is rare." Asha, less easily swayed, leaned forward. "Respect must be shown consistently," she said. "One call is not enough." Maya translated calmly while Gavin listened, the tension in his shoulders tightening again. He cleared his throat. "We want a partnership built on understanding, not assumptions," he said. "You have my word. We're committed to that." Maya didn't translate that verbatim. Instead, she softened the phrasing, adjusted the tone, and delivered a version that aligned with Japanese and Indian expectations of humility. She saw Kenji's eyes lighten. She saw Asha's rigid posture ease. The meeting moved forward, cautious but hopeful. For the next hour, Maya guided the conversation like a conductor. Whenever the tone sharpened, she smoothed it. Whenever misunderstanding threatened to crack the fragile trust, she bridged it before it formed. Every language she knew became a tool, every cultural nuance a shield protecting a deal too important to fail. But halfway through, the real storm began. Asha's phone buzzed on. She read a message and her expression darkened. "There is a problem," she announced. "Our Mumbai office claims your data protection protocols failed last night." Gavin's pulse spiked. The entire room stilled. Maya felt the tension shift like a sudden drop in air pressure. She stepped forward slightly. "May I speak with your office directly, Mrs. Mehta?" she asked in Hindi. Asha looked surprised. "You?" It will be faster, Maya said, and more accurate. Asha hesitated, then slid her the number. The room fell into absolute silence as Maya dialed. Her voice changed, becoming firm, technical, respectfully assertive. She spoke rapidly, weaving through cultural greetings and highly technical terms like she'd spent her life inside cybersecurity logs. Even Victor paused typing, listening despite himself. Finally, Maya hung up. There was no failure, she said. Your system blocked an unauthorized intrusion attempt from a competitor. Northbridge's protocols held. Victor checked his tablet, his brows lifted. She's right, he confirmed. The alert was misinterpreted. Asha exhaled slowly, the tension draining from her face. Then I apologize for the interruption. Gavin nearly slumped in relief, but Maya didn't let herself relax. Not yet. The meeting continued, deeper now, more human. Kenji spoke about honoring legacy. Asha spoke about the weight of past failures. Gavin listened for once, really listened, because Maya had taught him how. Then came the moment that changed everything. Kenji turned to Gavin. Partnerships require alignment of values, he said. Do you believe in building something that lasts beyond profit? Gavin hesitated. In that pause, Maya could hear every arrogant word he'd spoken over the years. Every time he'd dismissed someone he thought beneath him. She knew this answer mattered more than any technical detail. And he surprised her. I believe, he said quietly, that I've spent too long looking at balance sheets and not long enough looking at people. I'm learning, and I want to keep learning. Maya translated, her voice softening around the edges. Kenji considered him thoughtfully. Honesty is a rare trait, he said. It will serve you. After 3 grueling hours, the meeting adjourned with a promise. They would proceed. They would finalize the agreement tomorrow. Once the delegation left, the Northbridge team remained frozen in stunned silence. Natalie finally spoke. I don't know who she really is, she murmured, staring at Maya, but she just saved all of us. Victor gave a small nod. Her analysis was flawless. Jenna, who had scoffed the loudest earlier, looked at the table with an embarrassed swallow. I might have misjudged her. Claire raised an eyebrow. You think? But Gavin wasn't looking at his team. He was looking at Maya. You didn't just interpret for us, he said softly. You steered the entire conversation. Maya lifted one shoulder in a small shrug. Words matter, but how they're delivered matters more. He exhaled. You didn't have to help me. You could have stayed silent. I didn't want to watch the ship sink, she said, even if the captain never noticed I was on board. The room went quiet. Later that evening, long after most employees had left, Maya stayed behind reviewing notes for tomorrow. She organized gift ideas for the delegation, researched cultural expectations, and wrote down strategies to avoid miscommunication. She barely noticed the hours sliding away. Gavin watched her through the office glass for a long moment before knocking gently. You should go home, he said. His voice had softened again. She shook her head. Not yet. Mr. Sato values gestures. I need to make sure we show up prepared. You've already done more than anyone could ask. Maya finally looked up. Respect isn't something you claim, she said. It's something you demonstrate. He leaned against the doorway, rubbing the back of his neck. Can I ask you something? She paused. Yes. Why didn't you tell anyone who you were, what you could do? Maya looked down at her notes, at the handwriting that had carried her through a life that never quite kept its promises. Would anyone have listened? She asked. Gavin had no answer. She was right, and they both knew it. She closed her notebook gently. Tomorrow is what matters. Outside the windows, Seattle glowed against the night sky, the city humming with electricity and rain. Inside the conference room, Maya finally stood, gathering her files, her mind sharp and steady. Tomorrow she would face the world again, and this time she wouldn't be invisible. If you were in that room watching the way everyone finally saw Maya for the first time, would you trust her to lead the negotiation tomorrow? Yes or no? By the next morning, the entire Northbridge building hummed with a kind of controlled electricity. Rumors had spread overnight like wildfire. The driver saved the billion-dollar deal. The woman no one had ever noticed spoke 9 languages. The CEO brought her into a secret meeting. People looked at Maya differently now, not with the quiet disregard she'd grown used to, but with a mixture of awe, embarrassment, and a dawning respect they weren't sure how to express. She arrived early, stepping out of the elevator with the same calm she'd carried the night before. She wore a charcoal suit today, crisp and elegant, her hair pulled back. It wasn't vanity, it was understanding. In high-stakes rooms, presentation was another language. She had learned long ago how to speak it. When she stepped into the conference area, Gavin was already there, pacing as he practiced his greeting bow. He stopped when he saw her. You really were here before me, he said. I said I would be, she replied with a faint smile. He nodded, exhaling. They're arriving in 20 minutes. And Maya, I want you beside me. Not behind me. Not in the corner. Beside me. Her throat tightened for a moment. The first crack in the composure she'd carefully carried all these years. All right, she said softly. The minutes ticked down. Executives rushed around finalizing slides and notes, but Maya barely needed to look. She'd memorized every cultural expectation, every phrase that could build a bridge or accidentally burn one. She carried it all in her head like invisible armor. Then the doors opened. Kenji Sato entered first, his expression solemn, but not unfriendly. Behind him walked Asha Mehta, sharp-eyed as ever, and then Victor Liang with his tablet tucked beneath his arm. Their assistants followed, hands clasped politely. Maya bowed first, offering a greeting in Japanese that acknowledged lineage, distance traveled, and mutual honor. She followed it with a Hindi welcome that carried warmth but maintained formality. Only then did she switch to English and guide them to their seats. Gavin bowed as she instructed, deeper this time, more sincere. Kenji nodded in approval. They were off to a good start. The negotiation began. Compared to yesterday's tension, today felt like an intricate dance, slow and precise. Every sentence carried weight. Every pause mattered. When Kenji spoke about the responsibility of legacy, Maya translated with a softness that conveyed reverence. When Asha raised concerns about long-term alignment, Maya shaped the tone to show thoughtful collaboration instead of defensiveness. And Gavin listened, really listened. He didn't interrupt, didn't push, didn't posture. He followed Maya's cues and let her guide the rhythm of the conversation. After 2 hours, they reached the final hurdle, the symbolic gesture. Maya opened a small white gift box tied with a gold ribbon. Inside was a hand-carved olive wood bridge. When trees are twisted by storms, she translated, their wood becomes stronger. This bridge represents rebuilding, resilience, and the connection between your histories. Kenji lifted the carving, running his fingers gently along the grain. His expression shifted, not dramatically, but with a deep and quiet respect. It is thoughtful, he said, and meaningful. Asha received her gift next, a finely crafted silver watch with the engraving she had suggested. Time well spent unites cultures. Asha smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. Beautiful. With those gestures, the mood shifted fully. The last wall fell, the papers were laid on the table, pens were offered. And for the first time since Northbridge had begun collapsing under its own arrogance, hope entered the room like sunlight. Each signature felt like a quiet victory, the kind that would ripple across countries and economies for years. When the final pen was set down, Kenji stood. Northbridge has earned our partnership, he said. Not through numbers, but through respect. Gavin bowed again. Thank you for giving us the chance to prove it. Maya translated the words, though she didn't need to. Their sincerity carried through on its own. Applause followed, light at first, then building as executives and assistants joined in. Cameras flashed. The press entered. Statements were made. It was official. Northbridge Global Technologies had been saved. Hours later, when the crowds dissipated and the building quieted again, the executive team gathered in the main boardroom. Gavin stood at the head of the table, a document in hand. Today's success, he began, belongs to someone who showed us more than cultural intelligence. She showed us humility, integrity, and what leadership actually looks like. Maya shifted uneasily, but he held up a hand. 3 days ago, Maya Collins drove me to work. Today, she saved the company. And from this moment forward, she is no one's driver. He opened the document. Maya Collins is hereby appointed Vice President of Global Relations, with full authority to lead the Cultural Intelligence Division she helped inspire. The room erupted. Cheers, applause, even a few stunned gasps. Claire was the first to reach her and offer her hand. Jenna followed, slower but sincere. Natalie hugged her tightly. Maya accepted it all quietly, not with arrogance, with gratitude, and the overwhelming grounding realization that she had finally stepped into the space she'd once only observed from afar. Later that night, she stood on the rooftop terrace overlooking Seattle's skyline, the lights shimmering on the surface of the Sound. Gavin joined her with 2 cups of tea. You changed everything, he said. No, she replied. We changed because we finally saw what needed to be seen. And what was that, he asked. That people are more than the roles we assign them. He considered that. I want to support anything you want to build, Maya, anything. She looked out over the city, thinking of every quiet worker she'd met, every overlooked talent hidden in uniforms across the world. Then let's build something big, she said. Let's create a program to find people like me. People who have skills no one ever asks about. Let's call it bridges. Gavin smiled. Bridges, I like that. And in the months that followed, bridges grew. It spread across continents. Thousands found new careers, new dignity, new recognition. They sent letters, emails, stories of how one opportunity changed their entire lives. Every time Maya opened one, she felt the same warmth in her chest, the same reminder that her mother had been right, even at the end. Her gift was always meant to help people. 1 year later, on the anniversary of the Tekaramata partnership, Maya stood before a global audience of Northbridge employees and said, "We changed a company. Now we're changing the world, and we're only getting started." And as applause filled the room, she knew her story had found its home. Before I end this story, I want to ask you something. After witnessing Maya's journey from invisibility to leadership, do you believe that every person deserves a chance to be seen for who they truly are? Yes or no? If this story touched you, please comment below. Let me know where you're watching from. Hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss the next story. And if you believe more people should hear stories of hope like this, please share this video.